What's up guys, Groovy Guitar Dude here with my 5th song for Strummin 2021, Blame Myself by Illenium Tori. If this video helps you out, hit that like and subscribe button, and the guitar I'm jamming on today is called a Journey JF410. If you want to win this guitar, check the description for more details. First thing you want to know to play Blame Myself on guitar is that in order to keep the song as beginner friendly as possible, we're going to capo up to 1st fret. If you don't have a capo, I'll have a link to get this capo right up here. The next thing that you want to know to play Blame Myself on guitar is the structure of this song. We'll start out with a verse, then we'll go to chorus, then we're going to have a drop, then we'll go verse, chorus, and finish up the song with one last big drop. And the last thing that you want to know before we dive into Blame Myself is the 5 chords that we need to play this song. The first one is G, the next one is C add 9, the next one is E minor 7, the next one is G over B, and the last one is D over F sharp. And I'll have short chord tutorials for all of those linked in the pinned comment below for those of you who need them. And with all that in mind, guys, let's dive into Blame Myself. Oh, guys, I am such a huge fan of Illenium, and I'm so stoked for his new album. This is my favorite song from the new album so far. Definitely let me know below what your favorite song from the new album is as well. If you're learning this, if you like Illenium, I would love to hear what songs you guys are listening to, because he's actually one of my favorite artists. So with all that in mind, guys, this song is also a beautiful combination of Illenium's signature EDM sound and, of course, Tori Kelly's awesome vocals and probably some of her guitar influence as well. She's an amazing musician, both of them are, and it's a really groovy blend of both that really cool Illenium EDM sound, but also a really cool mix of Tori Kelly's playing and singing style as well. So this song is actually super beginner friendly to play. There's nothing too crazy here. We're actually going to have the same chord progression played through most of the song except for the choruses. So the drops and the verses is going to be the same chord progression. We'll get there in just a minute, but the first thing we're going to take a look at is what we're playing for our verses. For our verses, we're going to have a pretty simple chord progression and a pretty simple strum pattern to go along with it. Our chord progression for our verses is going to go G, D over F sharp, G over B, C add 9, E minor 7, and then back to D over F sharp. And you'll notice that next to those chords there's some numbers, and that has to do with what we're doing for strum pattern. For our strum pattern, for each one of those chords, we're going to play down strums associated with the number that's next to the chord, and they're going to be very quick, and we're going to play them palm muted. If you don't know what palm muting is, it's pretty easy. All you're going to do is take the soft part of your strumming hand right here. You're going to rest it on your strings close to the bridge so that when you're playing your strums, they're kind of muted and muffled like that. Pretty easy technique, and we're going to be playing that way through all of our verses. So let's break this down chord by chord. So we're going to start with a G chord, and we're going to have 16 palm muted down strums for this G chord. And I know that sounds like a lot and maybe kind of tricky to count. The way that I actually count whenever I'm playing strum patterns like this is I count in sets of 4. So if you're doing a 16 down strum pattern there, you would separate that out into 4 sets of 4 down strums. So what that would kind of sound like, and the way that you would count it and keep track of where you're at, is go 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. Just about like that. It kind of helps you keep your place, and it's a little easier to keep track of, and you can apply that to all the chords in this progression, and really any other progression like this one where you're using kind of a lot of different down strums or anything like that. So that's our first chord. We got 16 down strums on the G. Then we go to that D over F sharp. We're going to have 12 down strums here, so we'll go 3 sets of 4. So 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. And then we go to that G over B. This one we just have 4 down strums, so 1 set of 4. 1 2 3 4. And then C add 9. C add 9, we have 16 down strums again, so 4 sets of 4. We got 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. Then we go to E minor 7. That one's going to get 8 down strums, so 2 sets of 4. We got 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. Then back to D over F sharp for 8 down strums, 2 sets of 4. 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. And that is just going to repeat through all of our verses. Just about like that, probably a little bit quicker. This is a pretty quick strum pattern situation. We're in very fast time here, but it's nothing too crazy. Again, all we're doing on this side is down strum, so you don't have to worry too much about what's going on over here. The biggest thing is paying attention to what chord you're on and what your count is so you know when to transition. So I'm going to do a real quick walkthrough of that a little closer to full speed just so that you can see actually walked through and guided where those transitions take place in the strum pattern. It'll look kind of like this. Start with our G chord. We'll go 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. Just about like that repeated through all of our verses. So guys, like I said, nothing too crazy. Pretty beginner-friendly chord progression and a very beginner-friendly strum pattern to go along with it. A lot of fun to play. So with all that in mind, guys, a couple times through the chord progression and the strum pattern, it's gonna repeat through all of our verses on Blame Myself will look about like this without me talking. From there, guys, we're into what's being played for our choruses on Blame Myself. Now, this is actually my favorite part of the song, and I came up with a really cool way to play this where it's going to be awesome if you're playing this on acoustic guitar because it's going to kind of blend all of the instruments together that are being played. There's that very definitive guitar part that sounds like this. That kind of drones on and kind of plays on throughout all of the choruses, but there's also really cool kind of bass and synth that comes in there as well. And what I wanted to do and what I love doing on songs like this is kind of combining all of that. So playing that kind of main lead guitar part there, but also incorporating that bass and synth as well. And that sounds a lot more complicated than it actually is in practice, but what I came up with is this groovy little finger picking pattern that basically plays the root of that but incorporates the bass notes as well. So it turns into this really groovy finger picking pattern that's a lot of fun to play and matches up beautifully with the song, especially if you're playing this on acoustic. So with that in mind, let's take a look at this. What we're gonna do is we're gonna start here with a 3rd fret on the low E and a 3rd fret on the B string. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna pick our 3rd fret on the low E and our open G note at the same time, and then pick our 3rd B. And then we're going to alternate back and forth between that open G and the open B 3 more times. So, like that. In total, it'll look like this. We've got E and G, B, G, B, G, B, G, B, for a total of 4 times. Now what that does is that plays through that main kind of picking pattern that's being played on the actual song in guitar, on actual lead guitar, but it also incorporates that bass note there, which sounds really cool, especially if you're playing this just on acoustic. It really kind of ties the whole thing together, because otherwise we would just be playing through that whole chorus, just the open G and the 3rd on the B. Just kind of repeating that through the whole chorus, which is fun, but a little less interesting. So what I like to do is incorporate this bass note here, and that is basically what we're going to apply to this whole thing. We're actually going to repeat this same open and 3rd fret on the B through the entire chorus. All we're going to do is be switching up the bass note that we're using there. So one more time explained through that. We've got 3rd fret on the low E, open G, 3rd B. We've got E and G, B, G, B, G, B, G, B. And then we're going to switch to the next note. And that's going to be our formula for this whole entire progression that we're going to be playing for our choruses. So our next one is going to be a 2nd on the low E. And then same thing here, we got open G, 3rd B still. We're going to go E and G at the same time, B, and then we're going to repeat that 2 more times, G, B, G, B, just like that. That's our 2nd shape. Next shape, we're going to go down here to a 2nd on the A. We're going to pick A and open G at the same time, and then we're going to pick B, 3rd fret, once, just once on that one. And then we go to our 3rd fret on the A string, and we're going to go to 3rd on the A and open G at the same time, We're gonna repeat that 3 more times. Open G, third B, open G, third B, open G, third B. And then we're gonna go to an open low E, still open G, third B. So we got E and G at the same time, B. We're gonna do that one more time, so open G, B. And then we're gonna go to second on the G, or second on the low E, I'm sorry. Second on the low E, open G, still third B there. E and G at the same time, third B. And then one more time, G, B. And that is the entire picking pattern. It's going to repeat through all the choruses. Now, that's a little tricky to explain fully. I'm hoping that came out clearly as I was playing it and teaching it at the same time. But essentially what you're doing is just playing that open G, third B in continuous succession, just like I'm doing now. But we're just adding in the bass notes to the first time before we switch, just kind of like that. We're just adding in those little bass notes to kind of match up better with what's being played in the song. Because on guitar in the song, it's just the third B, open G repeated throughout the whole chorus pretty much, for the lead part at least. But what we're doing is just incorporating some of the other instrumentals by adding in that little bass note at the beginning of each of those kind of chords that we're playing, those shapes that we're playing before we switch. So now that we've learned the picking pattern, let's put it all together and do a little walkthrough together. Now, again, we're pretty much just gonna be playing this open G, third B, back and forth like that through this whole pattern. The only thing that really changes is what we're playing on the bass notes, the low notes. So what I'm gonna do is, rather than just saying that G, B, G, B, G, B over and over again, I'm gonna kind of tell you where those bass notes are, show you where the changes are, tell you how many times we're playing through those, and kind of try to keep it as accurate to the timing of the song as possible. It's actually fairly slow of a picking pattern. So we're gonna start with this third fret on the low E. We're gonna go 4 times through this one. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We're gonna go to the second on the low E. We're gonna go 3 times through this one. 1, 2, 3. And then we're gonna go second A, 1 time through this one. 1. And then we're gonna go to that third fret on the A, 4 times through this one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're gonna go open low E twice. 1, 2. Second low E twice. 1, 2. Just like that. And that is going to repeat through all of our choruses. Just like that, guys. Sounds and looks a little more complicated than it actually is, but there's really not a lot of moving parts in this. All we've got is just that open G, third B, cycling throughout, and we're just switching up our bass notes to kind of give it that extra oomph. If you're working on this, especially on acoustic guitar, it's going to sound super cool, which you guys saw in the very beginning of this lesson, and you'll see it again here in just a second. So with a picking pattern like this, I like to play it a couple times very slowly so that you can make sure you have all the right stuff in all the right places. And then I like to play through it a couple times full speed so that you can match it up with the speed of the song. So slowly a couple times first through the picking pattern. It's going to repeat through the choruses on Blame Myself will look about like this. A couple of times through the picking pattern, it's going to repeat through all our choruses on Blame Myself will look about like this without me talking. From there, guys, the only other thing you need to know to play Blame Myself on guitar is what we're playing for the drop. And this is that big signature Illenium drop that's just huge and sounds so cool and so fun. We're going to keep this one pretty simple. All we're going to do is play the same chord progression that we used for our verses. We're going to use that same exact chord progression, and we're actually going to use the same exact strum pattern. The only thing we're going to change up here is that for that down strum pattern that we played, that we learned in the verses, we are not going to palm mute it. We're going to just play it flat out open and make it sound really loud, really big, and just awesome. And it's going to match up really well with what's being played. You can kind of come up with a more complex strum pattern for this if you want to, and kind of want to like better match up with the dynamics of the song. But if you're just wanting to play straight out kind of what's being played on guitar there, you can just play that straight up chord progression, the same one we learned for our verses, with that same down strum pattern, but just really, really jam and wail on it this time and make it real loud, because that is really what's going to replicate that sound the best. So just a quick recap on that. We've got G with 16 down strums, D over F sharp with 12 down strums, G over B with 4 down strums, C add 9 with 16 down strums, E minor with 8 down strums, and D over F sharp with 8 down strums. And again, guys, we're just going to hit those down strums. We're going to let them really ring out and be super loud, super just punchy this time, and just really, really jam on it. And again, you can definitely incorporate more different kinds of strumming patterns if you want to for this. If you want to kind of match up better with the dynamics that are being played in this song with the other instruments and the also like electronic samples and stuff like that. But if you really want to just match up with what's being played on guitar, this will fit perfectly and also be very beginner friendly as well. Because again, we already learned this part for the verse. All we're doing is just really strumming it out now instead of just palm muting it like we did in the verses. So I'm not going to do very much of an example of this one or kind of a walkthrough because we already went over this. But a couple times through the chord progression and the open strum pattern that we're going to be using for the drops on Blame Myself will look about like this. And guys, that is everything you need to know to play Blame Myself on guitar. As always, if you have any questions, you can hit me up in the comments down below. I'm usually pretty quick getting back to those. And again, if this video helped you out, hit that subscribe button. I have about 850 other guitar and ukulele lessons on this channel, and I usually try to post at least 3 to 5 new lessons every single week. So if you're learning guitar or ukulele, there cannot be a more perfect channel for you to check out. Again, guys, if you want to win the guitar that I used in this video, be sure to check out the description as well as my Instagram for more details on how this guitar could be yours. Guys, I am so stoked to share this song with you because it is one of those songs that is actually legitimately a song that I really, really, really love. I know I say that I really dig a lot of songs that I teach on here, and I do. I really am a huge lover of music in general, but this is a song that I listen to outside of just something that I'm teaching to you guys. I listen to a lot of EDM music, especially outside of what I learn and teach on here. I love listening to EDM music, and Illenium is one of my favorite artists, and so I'm so stoked for his new album. This is probably my favorite song on here so far, this one and Paper Thin with Angels and Airwaves. But I love this one, and I'm a fan of Tori Kelly as well. I think her vocals are beautiful, and her guitar playing in her songs is beautiful. And like I said earlier on in the lesson, this song kind of feels like a combination of Illenium style and Tori Kelly style, which may seem kind of obvious, but it's cool seeing Illenium's huge signature drops and his sounds and all that kind of stuff mixed with some really cool guitar playing and Tori Kelly's awesome vocals. So, like I said, guys, nothing too crazy in this song. The chord progression and strum pattern it's going to play through most of the song is pretty beginner friendly, no bar chords or anything super weird in that, and the strum pattern's easy. And then that picking pattern is actually pretty easy too as far as the finger picking pattern goes. Again, you really can, I don't have my capo on, but you really can actually just pick that 3rd fret on the B string, or open G, 3rd fret on the B. I'm in the wrong key, but you can really just pick that if you want to. and not include the bass notes if you want to keep it super beginner friendly. But if you're covering this, especially on an acoustic guitar, it's really groovy to add those bass notes in. It kind of incorporates the other instruments and really fills it in. So I'm excited to see how people cover this song because that part can really be done a lot with. But this song is a lot of fun to play. It's a beautiful song. It's one of those songs, like I said, that I like a lot of the songs I teach on here, but this is one that I truly love and will listen to outside of just learning it and teaching it for YouTube. So anyways, I had a lot of fun learning this song. I hope you guys have a lot of fun learning it as well, and I hope you have a wonderful day. I'll see y'all soon.